how do you create a product that people love? How do you ensure that you don't go and build and spend a ton of money and a lot of time building something that nobody wants? How do you make sure that your company doesn't fail? Because the truth is, when you start this startup game, there's no guarantees. I mean, honestly, from day one, you're almost guaranteed to fail because that's just the way it works. So what I want to share with you guys in this video is 3 different ways to essentially validate your ideas. Because so many entrepreneurs, they start off and they're like, okay, well, I've got this idea, but I don't even know where to start. I'm going to walk you through my approach and some of my beliefs around validating your startup idea. The number one belief that I have is that I assume that I'm wrong about some part of the business. And it might sound crazy. If you think about it, I start off by saying, okay, here's what I believe to be true. There's a problem, there's a solution that could exist, but I assume that I'm wrong about the solution. And then what I try to do is I go out there and I validate it. So one of the big differences between me and a lot of other people is that I start off with the assumption that I'm wrong. And maybe you're like, well, how can you do that? Because it's a little schizophrenic. Think about it. You've got on one part to be absolutely certain that this is a good idea, to quit your job, to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, to raise funding from other investors. And on the same side, I'm telling you to assume that you're wrong. Isn't that crazy? But what I'm saying is it's not wrong about the overall problem and the opportunity. It's wrong about the solution. And what you want to figure out is what are the ways that I can test and validate each step of this product or solution in a way that's not going to cost me a bunch of time or money. So the first one I'm going to share with you guys is clickable prototypes. I learned this from a strategy called design thinking. It's a whole framework around being creative and building product, taking from kind of industrial product design. And design thinking argues that you should create paper prototypes. So in the software world, the equivalent is clickable prototypes. And I use Keynote, or you can use PowerPoint. Gosh forbid you have a Windows machine. Just upgrade, do yourself a favor. I know, okay, no more judgment. Just create a clickable prototype. And what's cool is every essentially slide becomes an interface in the product, and every button click just kind of links to another slide that simulates the product. That's a higher fidelity clickable prototype. What I love about that is you can create a PDF document, share that on emails, have people review it, click it, and give you feedback. So it's real feedback based on something they can put in their hands. Most people, their validation is conversations. And it's not even like a structured conversation. Maybe you've done this. It's kind of just conversations with friends saying, yeah, that's a great idea, you should do it. The biggest thing that you want to avoid is spending 6 months of your life going down a path because friends of yours said it was a good idea. That is the fastest way to just lose morale, fail, not build something awesome. And this is why, to me, clickable prototypes is the first of the 3 strategies, but it's probably one of the most important ones to just get your thinking straight. Right? Looking at these screens, looking at the flows, thinking how a customer might perceive the product and how they want to solve the problem that you want to go out there and solve. So clickable prototype. The second one is what I call a pre-selling the customers, or using an EAP strategy, or early adopters program strategy. So a lot of people talk about pre-selling your product, getting people to give you money up front, but how do you do that? And this strategy is a really simple way, because you go to potentially, my rule is 10 if it's B2B, or 100 if it's consumers, and you say, look, I'm working on this new idea. It's early stage, but I think you'd be a great company. You probably have this problem. You can do some customer validation. They say I have the problem. And here's the way it works. Because you're part of the EAP program, the early adopter program, we're going to give you a discount. You still need to get money from them. Go through that learning experience, purchase orders, receivables, legals, like go through that experience of saying, okay, getting them to part with some money. But by doing that, it'll allow you to co-create the product with your customers. It's invaluable. So that's the second one, is pre-selling to customers using the early adopter program. The third is doing what I call a MEVO, or a minimum economical viable offer. Now, here's what's different. In the world of lean startup, and most people totally took this out of context. It's not what Steve Blank, the author of 4 Steps to Epiphany, says. It's not what Eric Ries, who's one of my advisors at my previous company, Clarity, and a good friend of mine. A lot of entrepreneurs go straight to landing pages. I'm going to build a landing page and put the offer and see if people subscribe to my new startup. That is the craziest thing ever. Stop doing that. That doesn't tell you anything, because the truth is you're not going to do any strategic marketing of that landing page. You're probably going to tweet it out. You're probably going to try to get some press. And the people that are opting into it, maybe they have the problem, but giving you their email address is by no means customer validation, in my humble opinion. What I want to argue instead is you create a Mevo. It's saying, I'm going to create an offer, a valuable offer, in the minimum amount of features that I feel that will get somebody to part with their money, and I'm going to create that landing page and get them to sign up, even if the product doesn't exist on the back end. It's what I use at my company, Flowtown. And what you do is once they sign up, if you have no product, just say, hey, we're still early, we're releasing people little bit by little, your credit card wasn't charged, even though, again, you accept the credit card, you can use different tools for that, like Stripe, and say, when we're ready, we're going to let you know. But that is true validation. So real quick, I'm going to walk you through 3 of my top ways, and I kind of stack them almost in this order. The first one is creating a clickable prototype using Keynote, or you can even use Balsamic's a great tool. The second one is doing pre-sales to customers using the early adopter program, which is EAP. It's just saying, look, let's co-create this together because you're involved and you're giving us feedback. We're going to give it to you a discount. And again, if at any point you decide you don't want to build a company anymore, you want to pivot away from that core customer, you can do that, give their money back, no big deal, no harm, no foul. And then the third one is to really offer something and get a credit card, get a transaction going, do a Mevo, a minimum economical viable or valuable offer. Okay, that is different. It's not an MVP. It's actually getting people to land on a landing page. You give them the offer and they buy it. That is true validation. If you know somebody that needs to learn these lessons, please share this video with them. I've had this conversation with so many entrepreneurs over the last few weeks, and I want to make sure that they understand that doing a landing page and asking for emails is not customer validation by any means whatsoever. As per usual, I want to ask you to like and leave questions below in the comments. I want to challenge you to live a bigger life and a bigger business, and I'll see you next Monday.